record some content. Don't fall, don't fall. The way that you're designed to look at things is systematically. It's what are many parts that come together to make something, and how am I going to understand this? If you're not feeling successful, I think that you probably need to study more. Studying isn't the thing that we were taught in school, though. It doesn't mean you have to crack open a book. It doesn't mean you have to sign up for a course. It's not any of the traditional methods. It can be. It's not limited to that, though. Studying for us means you're aware. You're paying attention, you know, you're taking in information, you're absorbing it. You might be people watching. You might be watching a movie. You might be listening to something. But everything that you're taking in is meant to help you understand whatever your system is, because the greater understanding you have in your system, the greater your ability to guide the other types through it. That's what you're being recognized for, your ability to understand a system, to make it more efficient, and then to guide somebody else to their signature through that. Now, right after I tell you to study, ooh, don't slip, Sam. Right after I tell you to study, I'm going to tell you to take alone time. I'm going to tell you to take integration time. One of the mistakes that I've seen projectors make is getting too excited about the information that they've just learned. There is a very, very, very big difference between projectors who understand the information they're using to guide, who have an embodied integration, as in it's in their cells. They get it. They're conversational about it. There's a big difference between that and somebody who has read something and is now trying to use it to direct or teach or move somebody else. Oh, it's so slimy. You're gonna need alone time for a variety of reasons, but here are the two most important ones. Reason number one, you're deconditioning your centers. You have the potential of having 9 centers, but if you're a projector, we know automatically you don't have the sacral center defined. So really you have a potential of having a maximum of 8 centers defined. And so when I'm taking alone time, the number one thing that I'm doing is like emptying out my openness, emptying out my undefined centers so that I can feel me, so that I can return to myself. Second reason for alone time is more of a habits thing, more of a patterned behavioral thing. You know, I have an MG son, 3.5 pure MG. He doesn't know really that I'm not a generator. In fact, he only has a mental concept that he is a generator. And, you know, anytime my son needs something, he comes to me, Mom, can you do this? Mom, what about this? I get asked yes or no questions all the time, but it means that I get put in what I call response mode. They treat me like I'm a generator. They treat me like I have energy to do work for them. They treat me like I might have a response to what's going on. And after you live so much of your life that way, you can honestly trick yourself into thinking that you have a response to what's going on. I don't have a response. I've never had a response. This is very funny as a quad left person trying to maintain my focus and a cohesive line of thought. Give me a second. Point number 4, use your sense of humor. I hope that you have one. I'm working on mine. I've had to have a sense of humor because I'm a third line. My life is a trial and error disaster, and if I don't learn to laugh at it, well, I'm not gonna enjoy being incarnated in this bioform very much. I don't have control. You don't have control. Human design is a no-choice system. You are a passenger in a bioform. You're here for the ride. So is every other person that you're trying to guide. Every other person you're trying to guide are crystals in bioforms, trying their best with no control and no choice to live their life according to their own authority in a programmed Maya. You know, human design is a little bit like getting on a roller coaster. You're literally along for the ride. You know, you think that you want to be on the roller coaster, you're really excited, and then you get up there and it's just like, ah, because that's what it's like. You have to have a sense of humor. Otherwise, you're gonna get burnt out. You're gonna get annoyed. You're gonna get bitter. You gotta learn to laugh. You gotta learn to find the entertainment. We're here to watch the movie. It's a comedy. It's a dramedy. This is a dramedy. Take me. Oh, don't fall, sir. Hold on. They're fishing a little too close. The lure just landed like a foot away from me. Okay, this one is a little bit more attitude based, but it's probably one of the most important ones that I ever learned. And nobody taught it to me. It was something that I had to learn the hard way. I have to learn everything the hard way as a third line. It's worth noting that. But the line is play hard to get until you're not playing anymore. Most projectors are not hard to get. And that's why they're not successful. Most projectors are like, ask me, ask me. This video is predominantly focused on business, but I mean this for relationships too. Projectors need to be hard to get in relationships. You have to make sure that somebody knows your value. Whoever you get into a relationship with is ultimately your #1 client. Think about that. Whoever your partner is, that's your primary client, because that's who's gonna get the most attention out of you. You gotta make sure that anybody you get involved with, client or relationship, they actually know your value. They're not going to know your value unless you do. How do I know that they don't recognize me? What does that really feel like? And it feels like you're bitter. It feels like you're bitter AF. Feels like you're going, why don't they see me? Why don't they value me? Why don't they appreciate me? What do I need to be doing? You don't need to be doing anything. As a projector, I would never, ever, ever entertain the idea of getting into a relationship with someone that makes me bitter. Ever. Client or otherwise. I was bitter for years, but I couldn't quite even pinpoint what that feeling was. It was this feeling of like, you don't know me. You don't see me. You don't recognize me. You don't appreciate me. What am I here for? If you feel that way, this is not the right direction. It's not the right relationship. Bitterness to me is a signpost that I'm going in the absolute wrong direction. It's not my signature. My signature is success. If I feel successful, God, that is such a different feeling from feeling bitter. Bitter, I know. Bitter is a bad taste in my mouth.
I feel like I got something because my pulp is now gone.
Now, the most important thing to end on, and where I see so many projectors shoot themselves in the foot, they learn about recognition and invitation. They learn that in order to be correct, they need to be invited to do things, to be things, to go places. But there are nuances of this that can be really hard to drill into somebody, because at this point they're so afraid of living the wrong life. They're so afraid that they've been doing everything wrong for however old they are, that they really want to get it right. It's so important to me to communicate. You don't need to be invited to live your life. I can absolutely see how people confuse the invitation with thinking that they need permission. You don't need permission to be yourself. You don't need permission to live your life. You have permission. You are here. You are here. You incarnated. Your crystals want to be here. There's a reason that you're here. Don't get too in your head about what the narrative is about why you're here. You are already here for a purpose. You now have mechanics to follow to make sure that your purpose is lived out as efficiently as possible according to your signature.